Heading into the international break, Victor Osimhen scored another goal for Lille as he was awarded September's Player of the Month for the French Ligue 1. Welcome to the Nutmeg on Guardian TV. My name is Solomon Fo, and Dennis returns to us in the studio. I'm sure you're super disappointed with Manchester City, Spurs, and Manchester United.
Not just me being disappointed. I think a whole lot of fans of these teams are currently, still battling with the disappointment that their team gave to them over the weekend. Especially knowing that these defeats were against lesser oppositions. Yeah,
so going into that game between Manchester City and Wolves, the first thought that comes to your head is it that Manchester City really missed Bruyne for them to have lost that game?
It could be on some parts, and then it might not be on the other parts, knowing that most of the issues that led to the goal during the weekend were just defensive issues, defensive frailties from the part of Otamendi, and knowing that he was
bad in that one.
He was paired with Fernandinho, and you also make a case for the Kevin De Bruyne, who has been creating chances upon chances for Manchester City this season. But I think away from that, Manchester City did create a lot of chances, and then I think they deserve at least a point in that match. But football happens to everybody.
Yeah, it does happen, but I also think there was a whole lot that would have happened assuming Kevin De Bruyne was in that match. But heading into the way it affects the top two of the Premier League now, do you think losing this game and getting 8 points behind Liverpool, the highest it has been since in the Premier League era, do you think it really gives Liverpool a whole lot more opportunity and chance for them to run away with the title?
Certainly gives Liverpool a whole lot of opportunity, and then that it is also upsets the the hopes and aspirations of Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, who are looking to replicate, winning the domestic treble like they did last season. But knowing that this is the first of its kind, and then I just think if Liverpool should go ahead to once again lose this title to Manchester City or other side in the Premier League, I think it will be their blame to take, because they've got everything working for them right now. Firmino, Salah, Mane, the scoring. Milner is, come back, got the winning goal against Leicester City. I think right now it is just all coast clear for Liverpool to take the title.
Okay, that's about the top two now, but talking about the top six, saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said it might be very difficult for Manchester United to finish in the top six. They lost again to Newcastle, and the alarm bell should be ringing right now. But it seems he's had it very, very soft to some extent.
He's had it really soft. Yes, I would take that, because I think some of the sympathy he's getting is a flying start ever since at the early times he took over the Manchester United job. I think about 14 matches, went unbeaten in all competitions, and then got many of their worst players as are then playing very well. But right now, looking at this Manchester United side, I do not just think it will be difficult for this side to finish on the top six. I think if this team continues like this, they might even finish lesser, knowing that Gary Neville over the weekend, on punditry duty, said he might actually not be so surprised if Manchester United goes ahead on relegation. Although I do not agree with him, but that really tells you how bad the situation is for Manchester United.
Okay, when do you think the Manchester United hierarchy should step into this situation to nip it in the bud? Do you think they should still give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer some more opportunity for him to prove himself till the season ends, wherever the end, so be it, and continue the rebuilding process, as many would call it? Or do you think they should just stop it and bring in another person?
If you talk about the rebuilding process at this point, I think the rebuilding process has been distorted already, knowing that before the season started, Manchester United lost key players in the likes of Ander Herrera, Lukaku left the side, and some other players, and the team failed to bring in replacement. I think that was the point where the rebuilding process was distorted, and then I also think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as we speak now, is very limited in resources, to put out great performances or to motivate these players. The best I think the club hierarchy could do now is just look forward to the January window, support him with funds, and then let him get the team, back together.
I actually think there's too much pressure on the young stars to deliver, the likes of Mason Greenwood, even Marcus Rashford to some extent. There's so much burden on his shoulders.
That's what you get when a traditional Manchester United is, has the outlook of probably a club like a Bolton Wanderers when they were still in the Premier League.
Oof, that's a shade. Moving to the game between Spurs and Brighton and Hove Albion, after losing that game 7-2 in the midweek to Bayern Munich, you expect that we would have gotten some form of response from the Spurs side, but it was shocking, to say the least, for them to lose 3-0 against Brighton.
Yeah, it just sums up what the ordeal of Tottenham Hotspur has been this season, especially for their coach Mauricio Pochettino, who has come under, how do I call it now, under, different sort of reactions and criticisms, both from the fans of the team and also, football lovers, knowing that going into this season, Pochettino has not shied away from his challenges. He's not shied away from his problems that at the beginning of this season, it was quite difficult for him to get this team together. And then aside that, it was also quite difficult for him to get the needed support from the team's hierarchy, especially Daniel Levy, who has been taking all the blames that has been coming from.
But many people beg to differ since there were additions to this.
But then this Tottenham team, things playing out for Tottenham the way it is right now, I think it's just a case of Alex Ferguson's opinion about a 4-year cycle for every team's success, playing out. Because this Tottenham team have been together for like the past 5 seasons, and then with nothing necessarily to show for it, and then I actually predicted that it will be a very difficult season for this side.
So you
knowing that it is difficult for the coach to motivate these players at this point, because they got to the Champions League final last season. So what do they do from there?
So you think this team has peaked now, and there has to be something that shakes them out of that their current mentality?
Yeah, I just think the team needs some sort of resurgence. Probably, the manager giving way, somebody else coming in, and then, also rejigging the squad. I think it will do the team a whole lot of good.
Thank you so much for talking to us
Always
on
a
the
pleasure,
Nutmeg today.
Solomon.
Thank you so much for watching the Nutmeg on Guardian TV. If you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, you should already, because there's awesome content all the way for you. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Solomon Fowe, and this has been the Nutmeg.